Hello and welcome. My name is Zoltan Nemeth. I am a second year student at DIT. This is my Java assignment project, and I just wrote a program about which helps solar PV installations which try to reduce the human errors may can occur. And because there is lots of details when a solar PV site survey and design and installation is going through, um, there is a lots of human errors can happen. So basically the program is helping for a technician to measure the roof width and length, and that's the program calculate then the available and usable roof area, so the technician have an idea how much how many panel can be fit on the roof. Also the PV calculation software do that part as well. So I have a control class here, which is just instance the GUI class. The control class is a public class. If you can see here, it's a public class. But beyond the control class, everything is private, so everything is encrypted, including the communication between classes and communication between class and the database. Here's a short description about what the program does and how it's working. So go ahead with it. So when the program is started, there is 5 options. Oh, actually 6. Sorry. So there is 6 options. Run full size survey, which is not available in the demo version. However, I accommodate the bottom, just make sure it's there. So when a technician click on it, or I click on it, it's giving a warning message which says this function is not available in the demo version. Select menu between 2 and 4, 2, 3, 4. So these 3 menus is available. And here's on the right corner, there's a hub. If you can see this, there's a hub. Which is, if I click on it, it's giving instructions about how to exit the program and what the main functions do. So 1 to 5. Okay, I just close it. Okay, so I run the first program, which is calculate available roof area. So when I click on it, the GUI window, the original window is closed, the main menu is closed, and now a new window is set up which allow the technician to enter the roof width. Let's say in this case is 7 meter, and the roof height, let's say, is 8 meter. It's almost a direct angle. So when I enter the two details and click on the show me and save, the program automatically do the calculation of the roof width and roof height, and giving back the total area in meters square, which is now 56 meters square, and the roof usable area is 40 meters square. The usable area is always depends on the current planning permission regulation. So I just set set the number there, but it could be changed in 2 seconds. So once we knew the roof width, height, and the total area of the roof, we can go ahead and add PV module details. So when the technician click on the second menu, the forward menu, it's hide the calculation PV area window and opening adding new PV panels details to database. And this is a step out of the 5, step 3 out of the 5. In this case, the engineer can enter the details of the PV panel area. I decide this because there is more than 200 manufacturers who are providing solar PVs, and each of them have several versions. So it was easier to allow the user or the technician to enter the details. Just make sure it's matched with their needs. So let's say MCB for the version. For the width, let's say it's 1 meter, and the height is usually, when I click on the field and not fill it, it's giving a warning message which says enter the details in the text fields or press any button. So I just enter a details there. It's by mistake. So the PV panel height is usually 1.6 meter, and I also giving labels here. Just make sure that the user can handle the program easier, and the watts in this case is 285. Show me the PV area and the PV module area, and save it. So when I click on it, it automatically calculates the PV panel requirements, the area requirements, based on the panel width and the panel height. Also, in this case, the program do database collection behind the screens and upload the details on the local database, and it could be extendable to any. And here's the roof table, and it's including the roof width, length, total roof area, and usable roof area. So I entered 7 meters for width, 4 meters for the length. The total roof area was 56, and the usable was 14, which is correct. So I can go ahead, run a PVI calculation. I have a little error or little mistake here when I actually, first of all, I decide to do the values not editable, because once the roof area is set and stored, so the PV details are set and stored, the technician don't need to do anything with this. He need to just click on show me, and the field should be up here, but I made a mistake. So I didn't fix it yet because the time frame was a little small. So now it just showed the details. It just reading data from the two database, both from the roof and display it, and both from the panels. It's starting here. PV panel brand is LG, what we entered. So it's display the data here and says that the usable area of the roof is 40 meters square. Each solar PV panel area is 2 meters square, and the maximum number of panel can be fit is 562, which is incorrect because taking the user input as a string. However, I knew now I should take it as an integer, and to compare or divide or multiply, that would be easier. So that's one mistake I made. When a technician enter the following menu, the run commission test, it's giving a warning for the technician. It says this option is not available in the demo version. Contact the developer and or the press any button. This is because I was planned to do 3 easy steps or 3 menu for this demo version. First of all, the calc all the available roof area, which is taking user input and storing the database in the roof table, and taking the panel details and also store in the database, but using a different table called PV panel table or PV module table, and calc the solar PV area, which is basically compared to taking it's aimed to taking the roof width and calculate how many panels can be fit on it. So just let's see the code now. The program is almost working. I have only one mistake, what I mentioned to you here. So I mentioned the GUI class. This is I mentioned the control class. This is a GUI class. It's importing the necessary packages from the API. It's instantiated the GUI and implements action listener and mouse listener. I need that because it have to be act with or cooperate with the user input, which means that when the user enters something, it have to be distinct what which menu the user want to fill. Declare variables for the GUI, basically the panels, frames, menu, help buttons. I add an external listener here. I think it's not really need anymore because I was decided to implement the action and mouse listeners inside of each class. So therefore, to review the code or modify something, it would be a lot easier than open one action listener or mouse listener class and try to figure out which code belongs to which class. So everything is local here. Located here and down there. I will show you in a minute. So this is a create a constructor, which is a GUI. Set the frame, the behaviors of the frame. So if the user click on the red X, it's exit. I set the panel details, the layout is flow layout. I set the menus. I instantiate the menus here. Menu 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is not really meaningful. However, the text behind that run a full size survey. I think it's with this text is meaningful enough. I add the panels, add the bottoms to the G panel, and I also made a border layout. I thought it's full layout, sorry. So I made a border layout. I registered the buttons with the action listeners. So menu 1 do this, menu 2 do this, and I registered the mouse listener as well separately because that's it was. I think it's easier to read if the two is not belong together. It's not grouped together. So the GUI is end here, and the action instance is starting here, which I just show you. It's now 10 minutes, so I try to make it quick. So the first menu doing the full size survey. So when the user click on the first menu, then it's up. The messages appear here. If the user click the menu 2, which is the calc available roof area, then this window, the GUI window, is getting hide. You can see it's set for false, and call the next class, which is the calc roof area, in a new screen. And the same story with the panel details, the calculation PV area, and this is for the if the user click on the head button, and I have the mouse listener, so I instantiate the action listener first, and then the mouse listener, because the mouse listener have less function than the action listener does. Okay, and go to the next class, which is the calc roof area. Just going up, and this class also importing the necessary packages from the API. It's instantiate. It implements action listener, mouse listener as well. Declare buttons, labels, and text fields. The class is starting here. It's instantiate a GUI as before. Text box, adding the text box labels, fields to the user, make it easier, and register it with the action listener, and also register mouse listener, and set the frame visible. The interesting thing with the calc roof area that this is connected in the database. So when a user enter the calc roof area and enter details in the window, and press the show me and save, the program, the calc roof area class, basically just connect using first of all loading the GDBC driver, and if it's successful, then display this DB driver load successfully. If not, and some error is catch it and just display that. And then it set the action listener behaviors, how the action listener have to behave. Let's say if the user enter the input 1, which is the roof width here, and there is some text for the programmer if they need it, then taking the input and stored as a string. The same story with input 2, the user enter the roof height here, and taking the input as a string. What I did, because I had to multiply the roof width and the roof length together, I take the two values as an integer and then convert it to float with the parse float. So taking the string and compare it with that for a temporary variable, which is now called width, and that's now a float. So then I can multiply the width with the float, easy, and then just print out when the calculation made, just print out the two text output total, which is the first, the roof total area, which is uneditable, and the second one, output usable, is the roof usable area, which is also uneditable, because the user don't have to interact with that menu. It automatically show the calculation, so it's better than confusing the user. I think it's easier for the users to use the program. And finally, when the integers is stored, the calc roof area do the class. Calc roof area class do the connection to the remote database. It's the hostname, username, and password. There's no password, but if I should declare it here. Doing the database connection, and then try to connect using the driver manager, and then set variety statements is basically taking the values from the strings and from the floats, and write it in the database as a statement, and just to double check if everything was okay, then it's print out the DB connection established, roofer details are saved. If there is any errors, then the program catch it. Main menu next. Those are the general buttons which help the user to navigate. Main menu, save, next, so very obvious. And the action listener on the bottom. So add panel details is almost identical. The only thing is different with this. I'm now in 15 minutes, so I try really quick. The really different is that this class have different menus, different menus, different functions, and different behaviors. So there's more label, there is more text field for the user, but the database connection is almost the same. It's using the same driver, using the same username. The only thing is that it's stored the details in a different table, so it's stored in a PV panel table. I'll just try to show you here. Yeah, LGMCB1, that's what I entered a few minutes ago, so it's stored the details here. I hope it's readable. I really hope. Okay, so the calc roof area and add panel details are reading to the database, and the calc PV area, sorry, it's writing, and calc PV area is reading database. So it's 2 writes and 1 reads. And the same story, import packages from the API, declare the bottoms label as text field, set the frame window, register the bottoms, add the bottoms, register the listeners. Now I have to register only 3 because the user don't need to interact with any bottom, just with the main menu next and calculation. So there is not that many interaction, because it try to do the user job automatically, while reducing the human errors. So loading the driver, the DB driver, loading the DB driver, make the connection, connect to the database, select from, and taking those rows. And here is more in display data in table is more specific. It says select from roof table and PV panel table, and taking the strings from the roof table and print out the values from the PV panel table. And there's just some print lines for myself and for the programmer if they want to try it. SQL exception catch it function, the main function, the next, and the menu is just declared here, and a mouse listener on the beginning. So I hope you enjoyed my video. I'm really glad to make this. I hope I can continue and finish my program in the next few months, and thank you for your time for watching it. Thank you.